All right, we're recording now. Well, I will introduce myself formally, even though I know and I'm familiar with everybody on the live call here, but want to make sure those who join in the recording have a little bit of context of from where I'm speaking from, um, kind of what I focus on and what I have expertise in, and really kind of help guide the conversation. So I am Kara Ryska, and I host a podcast called the Special Needs Mom Podcast. It's how I met the wonderful Casey and Shelley, and or through avenues of the podcast. And I myself am a mom of four, and my children range in age from 8 to 18. The 18's kind of a trip. I'm kind of loving it actually. And my second born, who's now 16, is a multiple brain tumor survivor. So he survives with a whole handful of different disabilities. And one of the gifts that's given me is a little window into many aspects of disabilities because his disabilities range from behavioral, he's formally on the autism spectrum from a diagnostic standpoint. He's got physical disabilities, he's got medical complexities, he's got visual impairment, and probably more that I'm forgetting. So, oh, and then of course we have the cancer journey experience. And so I feel like there was this one point where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I have a little window into like not every, but many different disability communities. This is kind of cool if we can look at it that way. So, alongside kind of having this personal experience, I became a life coach, mostly in the beginning to help myself, to give myself the help and support I needed. I had no idea how to do all this, special needs mothering and really rise to the level of leader that it takes um, to lead. Because ultimately, what we do as caregivers is we lead. And I want to welcome Emily to the call. And I'm just doing a little introduction, then we'll get into the content. So, much of what I do is through the lens of leadership, whether it's self leadership, whether it's leadership of outside organizations, or whether it's leadership of your own home. So, we're going to focus today on what I'm calling building your support team. We could also call it something along the lines of um, leading people that help you. I mean, that's not quite as catchy, but I feel like that's kind of the concept we're looking at today. How can you not do this alone? And I think the prompt that I'll invite us to some conversation around for those who want to participate is when you hear the phrase, it takes a village, what comes to mind for you? First, do you feel like you have one? And or like where do you feel like you are on that journey? Do you feel like you've kind of just been on your own? Like, where is the village? I have yet to find it. So, love to hear from anybody who wants to share.
I can jump in. Um, I think that I am very lucky to be at a point that I have a village. And it's taken a long time. Stella will be 10 no, in October. For some reason, I want it to be September right now. I keep saying September. Um, but yeah, so it took us a long time. We didn't have any help for the first couple of years. So we had no nursing, no nothing. And so it was all on my husband and I. And then it's like slowly we've built that up. Um, I am very lucky that I have family that is willing to jump in and help. And I know that a lot of people don't have that. But it took like I said, it took a lot of not only just resources of getting like government resources as far as like self-directed hours, private duty nursing, um, but being open to having people help. That is like the big shift. Once I did that kind of shift of like, okay, I can't do this all on my own, then I was more open to having people come in and help out. I still think I have room to grow that are actually like people that can come in and help that is not necessarily related to Stella that could actually help me. But as far as Stella goes, I am pretty lucky to have that village.
That's awesome.
I'm happy to share also. I feel like I'm in this weird transition period where I'm rebuilding a new village. Um, just through trust and other things that have happened and age, I think, school transitions with the kids. I've lost my group of friends. Not lost, they're still there. They're just not being super supportive or helpful right now. So I'm in the process of rebuilding, regrowing. Luckily, with Nico, health isn't necessarily a concern. So I don't need help at home. I just need emotional support at home for doing all the things that I need for Nico, and encouraging my teenagers to be a part of that, I think might be, but also recognizing that they're teenagers and it's like living with giant toddlers that are really self-centered. So um, that might be a little bit unrealistic, but I'm in a phase of growth, and in my own mental health journey, I'm in a phase of, I think I've outgrown my social worker who's amazing, but I need somebody a little bit more in tune to the support and caregiving I'm doing so that he can or she can better support me. So
Yeah, interesting. Um, I relate a lot to that transition piece where I feel like for various reasons, a lot of the people or places I had support have kind of come to an end. And so I think it's kind of building it back up. And I've actually been in that process, I think, for quite a while. For there's a variety of reasons, and we're going to talk about kind of where we get stuck along the way. But Teresa, welcome to the call. We're talking about building our support team, and right now, starting with what, like when you hear the phrase "it takes a village," what comes to mind for you? And I'll open it up for conversation. You're always welcome to share, but not required. Nicole, did you come off mute and want to share?
Okay, I guess I'm not even on mute, so I'll
Okay, I
share.
didn't know. I don't. I'm not to. You don't have to share. No pressure.
Yeah,
But if
no,
you
no,
were
no,
welcome.
no, I can share. You know, we don't have family here, so it's just kind of like my husband and I. His parents were here but have passed away, and actually, and his brother's about to pass away. Who's not here, like um and so we have had to create our own village. Luckily, this last year, my daughters gained a group of friends. Like there's like three other girls and a boy, and they're all in the same grade except one is one grade older, so she's off to high school this year. Um, and that's been nice to have. Um, but like we've had difficulties retaining a caregiver. We currently do have a caregiver, but we just haven't used her in a little bit. And before that, like we didn't feel comfortable leaving her with with her, not because of the caregiver, just like in case anything happened. But it would be nice to get to that point where we could leave the house without her. I guess that's why I'm so looking forward to the school year of like, oh, she
Mhm.
can be at school for a while. But I'll say over the summer she was supposed to do a couple weeks of special ed summer camp. Like our school district, a few years ago they paid for 3 weeks of it, and this year now it was 2 weeks. But this year they weren't able to support her. They didn't even try. And in the years prior, she got kicked out. And so I've been talking to the local ARC about, I talked to someone in charge who like knows the director, or like the big boss of like, what is there for people that struggle with more with behaviors and stuff, and they don't get it. And so in that way, it does feel kind of lonely to even, like at this point, like I don't even want to try next year, but I'll see how I feel next May. And then
Yeah.
then she went into this other respite place. She was supposed to be there for a month and got kicked out after a week. So it's just really hard,
Well, I
and
think Nicole, yeah, you've highlighted a one of the like basically we're going to talk about what gets in the way. So kind of move from this part of the discussion to really looking at what gets in the way of building our team. And you've highlighted the practicality piece of it, that sometimes there's not a right fit for our children that either have medical needs or behavioral needs or other types of needs or accessibility needs, you name it. And so we're going to look at kind of what's in the get way, kind of in three groups or three main topics and kind of drill down. And I think it's important to highlight these to just recognize like to not like give them power as in this is the reason we can't do it, but to look at them head on, face them and say, okay, this is the roadblock I need to figure out how to get over. That's really kind of what this conversation's about. And the first one I'll highlight is beliefs. So there's a lot when we start to look into like if we look at why we don't have more support, we're going to look at kind of what's the stories that we have that either might tell us we don't deserve it. So I'm just going to read a couple thoughts that you might resonate with and just pay attention to anything that feels like it hits home for you. So one is I should be able to do it myself. If I were stronger or more organized, I wouldn't need help. This is a good one. Other moms seem to figure it out, so I should too. Good old comparison coming in for the win there. Asking for support means I'm failing or not grateful enough. This is a good one too. My child needs me. No one else will do it right. And anytime we look at something like this, we want to look at it through the lens of compassion, recognizing that I know for myself, my child needs me, no one else will do it right. There is a piece of that that feels very true. That my son has a lot of nuances to what it takes to keep him well. And even somebody that thinks they understand the medical condition may not understand enough that will actually result in him staying well. And so through this lens of compassion, we can acknowledge the parts of that are true and that will require, like basically that will be requirements for us to teach and to train and to do the work to have actually that not be true. But then through the lens of compassion, as in like, it's really scary to trust somebody else with our children who we work so hard and know so well. And so, but yeah, again, we're not gonna use that as evidence that we can't have more support or that it won't work. So let's keep going and not share as much because I want to make sure we do get the opportunity to get to the end. So the second category here is fears. And so, of course, these are not, these categories are all going to kind of be, intertwined, but fears can be, more related to what might happen to our child or kind of the more like rejection-based fears. Like, what if I ask and they say no? Or what if they say yes, but resent me later? If I ask for help and get rejected, it will hurt too much. Or they'll think I'm needy, weak, or taking advantage. Or if I let someone else in, what if they mess it up or judge me? So like you can just see there's so many different layers of fears that could be part of where we stop as it relates to building our team. Okay. Now let's go back to what Nicole was kind of highlighting is the practical gaps. So this is time, resources, not knowing like how to get this help or how to train this, or it just feels like finding the right fit like Nicole was saying, like feels so almost impossible. So this could be like, I don't even know what to ask for. It's so overwhelming. Like when you're in a state of crisis, sometimes you're like, how can I help? And you're like, I don't even know what to ask for. That's a real situation many of us find ourselves in. Or I don't have anyone that I can count on. So that's like a real problem that we come up against. Or the old classic, people do say, let me know if you need anything, but then maybe they don't follow through or it just feels too vulnerable um, to to kind of go that place. And Teresa, thanks for sharing in the chat. Fear that they're not good decision makers. And like for your son's unpredictable behaviors and reactions. Yeah, that's real. Like I think about my son's behaviors and I'm like, I can explain all day long just how sneaky and deceptive he is. But until you see it with your own eyes, I think people really don't understand how this cute, giant, toddler-looking boy can be such a good liar. So it's like, I think, yeah, you know your child so well. Okay.
That's right.
Oh, and Teresa, do you mind muting if you're not trying to speak intentionally? I don't know if she heard me. I'll help you. Oh, you got it. Okay. Awesome. Okay. This one, oh, it's a good one. It takes more energy to explain what I need than just to do it myself. Right? Like these are good ones. I was like, this is a good list. Okay. So those are real stops, and I want to highlight those because this is where we will predictably stop. And I use that language intentionally. Um, it's a kind of an observation where we stop. And the reason why that's important to know is so that we can also identify where and how we can keep going. All right. So we're going to transition to, I guess, what I'm calling building your support piece, building your support team one piece at a time. And I have a list that I'm going to hopefully successfully share via a Google Doc. And it's kind of a brainstorm list and kind of just looking at different categories and specific areas of our life. And it's not going to be conclusive. You're going to have areas that are areas that you want more as part of your team and some areas that won't be applicable at all. But we're going to look at this list and we're going to use it as a brainstorm to identify one area, just one. We're going to start with one area at a time because like I feel like if we start to be like, okay, I need all this help and all these people, it's going to feel overwhelming and then we're going to stop. Okay, so we're going to look at kind of the emotional, physical, financial, practical, social, all the different areas. We're going to choose one and then we're going to kind of work it through. We're going to predict the challenges that we might have in creating more support in this aspect. Then we're going to state the solutions. Like, so we're going to use this brilliant part of our brain, the prefrontal cortex. When we're not immediately faced with the threat, it's actually we're able to be a lot more creative and kind of see other ways around. And so we're going to predict the challenges and then we're going to come up with solutions in real time. And this will be kind of fun because we can brainstorm if needed and if we have time. And then we're going to decide the next step. So like this could be like making the call or writing an email or writing a job description, or it could be any number of things. But very specifically, I've stated it as decide the next step because this is the kind of game that we don't know if it's going to take 2 steps or 25 steps. But the idea is we're playing to win and we will hit that ball across that net as many times as we need to. And some of those, this is good. I like tennis. So this is like a tennis, I'm picturing tennis, right? So it's like, we don't know if it's going to take 2 rallies to go back and forth to win the point or 25. And again, some of those balls that we try to hit are going to like fly off of the court and we're like, oops, another ball, please. And that's just a model of like, okay, sometimes we're going to stop and then we're going to have to pick it up again. And again, all through the lens and the layer of grace and compassion, because some of these things you're going to realize, oh yeah, like I started this like a year ago and I quit or I stopped or I forgot about it. And that's okay. I think through this lens of like humanity, it's like we have a lot on our plate. And so building an executive team is like, that's actually a job people have, like get paid a lot of money for. And we're doing it as, caregiving executives. I like to look at it through that lens. Okay. So those are the 4 steps. Identify, predict the challenges, state the solutions, and decide the next step. All right. Are you any questions before I get our hopeful brainstorm list into your eyes, on your eyes? Maybe I could, maybe I'll share the screen. Can I do that? That's probably going to be a better way to do it. All right. Let me just take a second to get that set up. I tried to have it ready for everybody, but apparently I didn't do it. All right. We're going to share the screen. So give me a second. We're going to do point of screen. I love that option. Not that point though. Okay. Now, can everybody see and read it? Is it big enough to read? Not so much. Let's make it bigger. Better? Okay. I'll just scroll down as needed. Okay. So we're going to kind of just look at all the areas together. And I just want you to pay attention to like what one jumps out as you is like whether, hey, this could be low hanging fruit, like an easy place to start. Maybe it's not like the biggest impact, but maybe it's something. Um, and or maybe what feels like most important. So like you get to choose. But for today, we're going to choose one. I mean, you can choose unlimited amounts, but let's start with one. But yeah. Okay. Emotional and relational. So I won't read every single one of them. I'm just going to kind of highlight aspects of it in terms of, Shelley, you mentioned this too, right? Where it's like some of your friends more recently were a part of that like supportive team. And then that's changed to where you're like, ooh, these aren't the people I feel safest with anymore. And so that might be an aspect where like, okay, I need to find safe spaces for venting, processing, or just like going out and having drinks with people that like I know have my back, that there needs to be that level of trust and vulnerability that you have. And um yeah, so that's kind of a safe space to like do all the caregiving kind of friendship level with. But then there's also, I think, companionship and friendship outside of caregiving. Whereas perhaps you recognize if I actually am in this 24/7, I get a little burned out and I forget about who I am. So actually, I want to have maybe you have a pickleball club where you're like, I just go play pickleball. We don't talk about anything, but we play pickleball and it's a part of my identity that I enjoy and gives me a break from the caregiving. So that might be less emotional, relational, more like recreational, but we don't have to worry too much about which category anything's from. I think another really important category is spiritual support, which I think can get real tricky when we have children that don't often like fit inside of faith communities, just like they don't fit inside of school communities easily without extra care and planning preparation. Okay, let's keep going. I'll just kind of talk about each one of them, and then you guys can obviously read the list too and decide like where your brain's going. Practical household. This is a great place to start sometimes because it can kind of give maybe elevate or like free up enough for us that then we can focus on something else. So meal prep, meal trains, grocery shopping, grocery planning, those ones, which actually is the area that's just feeling like the loudest for me right now. House cleaning, laundry help, transportation, childcare, respite care, pet care. Okay. Those ones are nice and like straightforward. I like straightforward things. All right, then we got the medical and caregiving. So we have the skilled medical help, nursing aides, therapists, medication management support, appointment scheduling and coordination. I would be a gazillionaire if I could figure out how to take that load off of caregiving parents, but I haven't figured it out yet. I'll be a gazillionaire later. Okay, let's see. Financial and logistical. So this is fundraising, grants, um, dealing with insurance, getting those reimbursements and or getting insurance to pay for things, budgeting, accounting help. So this kind of falls in like everybody in their life generally might need help with that. And actually have a client now who works for YNAB. Have you guys heard of YNAB? Okay, Shelly, I love YNAB. Like we are longtime YNAB users. YNAB is you need a budget. It's a budgeting tool that actually is really helpful and works. And so I was like so geeky. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like fangirling. That was really fun. I'm going to figure out how to bring her inside and bring it to everybody. Okay, that was a total side note. Workplace accommodations and advocacy, right? So like if you work in a traditional work setting and you need to have more flexibility with your schedule, creating that. All right, let's see what else. Information advocacy. So this is where like gosh, if I had brought in on an IEP advocate earlier, I would have been a lot better supported. And if I could go back, I would. So now I'm telling everyone else to do it. Navigating resources and local nonprofits. I was just thinking yesterday, I was like, you know what? Like, I actually feel like right now, what I'm experiencing, it's not that we don't have enough resources, it's I have too many to like know where to go for what and how to lead and access all of them. It's a good problem to have. But I feel like I need to kind of like get a poster board and be like, this is who I go to for what, this is who I can invite to this, and kind of again, really kind of get in the driver's seat of all of that. Okay, personal care, personal and self-care. So a huge category, also a category that many people have a physical reaction to when we talk about. So time for exercise and hobbies, and might I even say fun, and time for relationships, the basics, sleep, nutrition, movement, that stuff, which, you know, is easy to poo-poo because it's like we all talk about it. Are we tired of talking about it? No, we're going to keep talking about it till we are well cared for and feeling energized. And then community and social. So this is kind of family relationships, school community, again, kind of tapping into the support above. And I saw the chat, so I want to make sure I'm not. Oh, your internet's being, that's a bummer. Well, I'm glad the call didn't end when your thing ended. Okay.
That was my worst
Alrighty.
fear. So I'm
I
hoping
know,
I'm
you're like,
glad it didn't
ooh.
happen.
If it didn't happen, you're like, oh man, I could see you sweating over there. Okay, so that's our brainstorm. Again, it is not a all-inclusive list, but it's just kind of a like get your mind spinning list. So, um, I'm trying to decide, do you guys want time to like think about it, or do you feel like, oh, I know like where I want to start? Um, Shelly and Casey, I'll look to you to kind of decide if we should give a little time to kind of think about what area. What
Can
do you
you
think?
scroll down on that list one more time?
Yeah. Yeah. That fits almost everything.
I I mean, I know what I need.
All right, so let's do this. Let's share, assuming you want to, you do not have to share. Let's have people share, and then that'll help also if people need more time to kind of figure it out. You can continue thinking about it while others are sharing. Um, so I'll pick on you, Casey. Are you willing to share what you're thinking?
Yes, I actually have two that are kind of high on my list. One is helping with organization and decluttering of my home. I always notice that when things are in order, my brain and my general like just disposition is so much better. And so I just had like piles of like important papers that
Hmm.
I don't have anywhere to put them, or I do have a place and I just don't have time like for me to be like, oh, sitting there for even just 15 minutes filing that is not worth my time. Like I have other things I need to do. So that's really high on my list. And then I recently found out that Stella's um, hospital has a complex care team. And I'm like, wow, we've been going there for 10 years practically, and I'm just now finding out about this, that they can actually help organize your scheduling of doctor's appointments and keeping things on same days. And I'm like, what? So I've been doing this on my own for so long. I think people just think, oh, surely she has this other team doing this for her. But no, we've just learned to do it ourselves. So those are kind of two that I think that are high on my list. But So I think I'm going to pick the organizing and decluttering because the other one is literally just like, I need to call them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome. Well, way to identify too. And yes, right? Like you're like, where has this been the whole time? How did I miss this? Um, okay, whole other topics in terms of like all of that stuff. Okay, anybody else ready or willing to share what they have identified for themselves? Nicole, go ahead.
Alrighty. A couple of things, as I already mentioned, just having access to caregivers and keeping caregivers. But also, financial and logistical. My husband went down from 40 hours to 30 hours a week. And since COVID, he's been able to work from home mainly. And right after he went down in work hours, because that's when my daughter's behaviors really started to increase, they started to say, "Oh, you're gonna have to go in so many days a week," and like that negates the point of, you know, going to less hours. So, and at first they're like, no exceptions, but
Hey, Emily, remind me 5
oh,
minutes to 1 or something, will you?
oh, Tammy. Oh,
Oh, Tammy, I'm gonna mute you if that's okay. Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
oh,
I
that's
thought I was
okay.
muted.
It's all good. All
and
right, go ahead, Nicole.
yeah, so he was able to get an exception, but it was like under the table, like, don't tell anyone here else you're getting this exception. And then the other thing that really stands out for me is the emotional relational thing is I have a really troubled relationship with my mom, and my mom just doesn't get it, and everything is about her. And it actually, like, the day I had to go pick up my kid early from this place out of town that she was supposed to be there for a month. um she's like, "Oh, well, maybe we can all plan a trip here, come to where she is in California." And it's like, it's just frustrating that some people don't get it, and they, especially when it's a family member, that they just
Yeah,
don't get
definitely.
it.
Yeah, definitely. I think those are some of the hardest relationships to navigate. So thank you for sharing, Nicole. Anybody else ready or willing to share?
I'm always willing to share. Teresa, did you want to go?
Yes, if you don't mind. My son is 29, so the biggest obstacles I have is the fact that he's an adult.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So the problem is, as an adult, he can make decisions as he wants. So if he doesn't want to shower, he doesn't have to shower. And so I'm learning slowly but surely different things that I assist with, that if I were to even think about his future and getting him into like maybe a home or something, that he would not be taken care of just because of the fact that if he chooses not to do anything, not take medication, not to get showered, etc., that he is legally entitled not to. So the whole adult system is bonkers,
What
bonkers.
state are you in, Teresa?
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. I have no idea if that would matter. I've never heard of that. That's new to me, and so I'm intrigued
So
and
at
interested to
age
hear.
18, everybody's considered an adult. So there's so many things that change and you have to prepare for. Because when school stops, like in Pennsylvania, they can go up to age 21. You can ask for an extension to stage 21. But after that, there's no speech, there's no everything that the school
Yeah, I
provides.
just haven't heard, especially, I mean, it brings up an interesting challenge. So I think that's going to be one for you to, well,
Right.
actually, and I want everyone to thank you for sharing, first of all. I want everyone to think about, as we're continuing to share, for those of you who are willing to share, what would it look like if you were fully supported in this area? So, Nicole, I want you to think about that with your relationship. What would it look like if you were fully supported? Now, your mom's not going to be changing. Sure, she's going to be the same mom, but what does it look like for you to be fully supported? And I think Shelly said you were willing to share.
Yeah, for me it's the social piece.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really that, and then the home, the practical and household stuff. I have a cleaning lady and I have to go in, like she just left, and I'm gonna have to go clean some things that she missed. But she's been such a great part of our family that it's just like, how do you let somebody go? She loves Nico so much, and she's always praising how what a beautiful and smart boy he is, and I love that. But like even today, I'm like, can you really focus on the bathtub? Like I can handle the kitchen, I can handle the small things, the vacuuming, the main floor. But I'm like, she went and did it. I don't know what it looks like, but then she's like, but I left this piece here. I didn't check because I came out the door. But last time I did it, I fell in your bathtub and I was really scared. And then it's like, but I need you to clean the bathtub like that.
Uh-huh.
And just like, but she fell last time. And so I really struggle with well, I'll just do it myself, and same with the teenagers helping. Instead of arguing with them, I'll just do it myself because it relieves my mental load. So there's that. And then I have a really great when it comes to self-care, I think I should get gold stars every day. Like I do what I want when I want. I don't feel bad about taking time for myself. And I don't do it excessively. I do it when I do, but I really want that social connection that's not my boyfriend. But the
Mm-hmm.
hobbies and things I like to do are very they're at home, they're by myself. I like to like would laugh at me right now. I emptied every piece of Lego on the our throughout our entire kitchen because we have every Lego set imaginable, and I'm rebuilding our biggest set. So like I've spent 2 hours every couple of days like sorting through pieces, and I love doing it, but that's not very social. So I feel like I need to step out of my comfort zone and do the pickleball because I'm active. I want to be active. Or I've tried the book club thing, but even though it's been 10 years since I've done like an out of the house book club, I've always been 30, 40 years younger than the next oldest person. So it's like, why can't there be a book club for 40-year-olds? Like, why do they all have to be 70?
Well, one of the challenges that I'm obviously you're directly saying is like, okay, how do you find and access it, right? And so that's going to be the challenge that we're going to figure out how to overcome.
Yeah.
So, for sake of time, we'll keep going in terms of, and I'm going to stop sharing. There's my button, so I can look at my notes. Find my paper. Okay, so, uh, thank you for those of you who've shared again, and that is, hold on, getting reset up. Identify the area. And so for some of you, you were really specific. Casey, organization and decluttering the home. Awesome. And then like Shelly, maybe a little, I mean, you still have some specificity, but even getting more specific and answering the question, what would it look like if you were fully supported in that area? And so due to time, we're not going to fully flesh out that, but that would be something that I would invite you to um maybe just kind of meditate on for a minute. Maybe you do like you kind of challenge yourself to write for 5 minutes about it and kind of really do a little bit of dreaming of like what would it like, and this is where you kind of let go of how. You don't worry about how, or like Shelly's example of like, yeah, every time I try this before, it's all 7-year-olds. Like let that part go and just allow yourself to be in like a little bit of a fantasy world for a minute. This is where we let go of all of our struggles, but really answer the question, what would it look like if you were fully supported in that area? So first get really, really clear on what that looks like. So, and actually not, well, I'll share really quickly is peace of mind tree. So that's really very important, right? Um, the area that I think of is, we've gotten access to a lot of support for Levi more recently. So finally have a respite provider. And now I met somebody else who's going to be a really great fit. So I'm kind of like, it's almost like where I'm stuck is how do I really utilize and kind of dream up like how this works for the caregiver, for Levi, and for our family. So there's a little piece of like, I need to get clearer on what support in this area looks like before I even go on to go try to create it. So that's going to be the work be doing. Okay, so now for each of you that have identified your area, I want you to predict the challenges. So I want you to think of everything or everything that you can think of that's going to get in the way of you generating the support that you want in this area, having the team or the aspect of support. And I'll just give you a couple moments to work on that or just, identify that. And feel free to shout out, like if you identify one, you're like, oh, wow, this is one I didn't think about, or one that you'd like to share.
Childcare is always the biggest one.
Childcare. Good one. Yeah.
Financial.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes these things cost
Totally.
money.
Yep.
Maybe the gym or,
Uh-huh. Time. I mean, I think of like the fun stuff, right? Like some time, figuring out how to fit it in your already impacted schedule.
One thing I thought of is if, like, for me, like organizing and decluttering, well, what if my husband and my son aren't really on the same page as me? And so I can find myself like, oh, but you need to put that here because that's where this goes, and then getting frustrated. So making sure that we're all on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
I relate to that a lot, Casey. I'm doing the same thing. I'm in my daughter's bedroom right now, and I took every article that she has in her room and put it on her bed. It's disgusting. 14-year-old girls are disgusting. And then my next step is taking photos of once everything's clean and saying this is the expectation when you go back to your dad's on Sundays. It's like there shouldn't, I'm not kidding, 8 water bottles and 3 cups.
Thirsty girl. Oh, I'm actually very, it's, I guess, inspired, excited actually is maybe what's coming to my mind, Casey, about the idea of actually getting more help in terms of decluttering. I'm actually pretty good at that. Like, I don't struggle a lot in that area, but I think the difference, in sometimes recognizing, but then I would be like exponentially supported if I had someone help me. Like that recognizing I don't have to rely on my own skills. I can actually really benefit and like get the get the project done in a way that's just going to feel so great.
Yeah, and Casey, you were telling me about a big glaring problem is that you had arranged someone to come help you and they canceled multiple times. So you're relying a lot of times on other people's schedules when you need extra help or when you want to participate in a fun activity. That's also something you have no control of, is if they bail on you.
Right.
Totally. Okay, what other challenges are coming to mind for anybody who wants to share?
Well, my kid's mood.
Meaning, for
He
you to be
doesn't,
able,
yeah, to comfortably go somewhere or do something.
got it. So a little bit unpredictable there too. Okay. So what solutions can you come up with some of these things? So, um, I know not everybody stated theirs, but this is where you get to answer your question, answer the challenge that you identified, and actually come up and brainstorm with potential solutions. Teresa, you
So
came off mute.
yes, I had a situation where I had a leak and we had to unpack and remodel and all that. And that was such a nightmare because I needed help with organization, decluttering, etc. So now all of a sudden the nightmare is, well, everything in the rooms that need to be worked on has to be moved out and packed up. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh God, you're forcing me to do this. But the good thing was that somebody boxed all my miscellaneous little stuff. And the furniture, I figured, okay, can be put on this room, that's fine. But when it came time to unpacking, oh my gosh, all these boxes of all my stuff. It's like, ah. So now I was forced to declutter. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
this is going to be hard as heck. And
Mm-hmm.
emotionally, I didn't need the extra, burden. So thank God I got rid of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But you know what it is? We go through different phases in life. That's what I noticed. Even with my son, he went through different phases in life. So not everything's going to be the same. So it's not easy to declutter organized, but then once you find a little system that helps you, it's mind blowing because now you have time for yourself, which is when I do have time to myself, it takes me 10 to 20 minutes to adjust to the fact that, oh, I don't have my son right here with me to take care of right now. So how does that look like for me to have time for myself? And it takes me a while to adjust to that. And then I have to go back to it, of course. But so I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, well, I think, well, I don't know. As you were speaking, what I was thinking of as well, is just so how we get to enjoy our life when we support ourselves more. Like, so for you, as you're describing kind of a more organized or decluttered or like just a place that feels like sacred and serene for you to be in. Like, I'm thinking of it really is kind of helping me identify, wow, like it really brings a lot of benefit to me when my spaces are pleasant for me to be in. And I recognize that my son's room, Levi's specifically, is just ugly and gross. It's just ugh. And I was like, I need to make that a beautiful sanctuary for him and for me. So I want to spend more time in there. And so I have some visions, but I was like, I think I'm gonna need some help like making that happen. So we're gonna say something, Shelley? Okay, look like you're gonna talk. Okay. Well, I wanna make sure we do end on time. And so the last step is to decide the next step. I like that. The last step is to decide the next step. So what's the action when you get off this call? What's the action you can write down on your planner, on your to-do list, maybe put it in your calendar of what the next step is? So like for Casey, it might be call Google organizers. I'm just, brainstorming ideas. It might be like I'm thinking, oh, my friend Kimberly is so good at that stuff. I just need to ask her to come over to help me, and she would be thrilled to do that. Um, so what is that specific action that you can do to move this forward? Shelley is look at a community calendar or library for group activities to join. That's a good one because like library is usually free. That's great. Community calendar. Yeah, I find that in our city, I don't know how it is up in Canada, but like there's actually so many cool events that like the city puts on and they're so affordable.
Our
And
events suck, but there's lots of little groups. Well, our community is so old.
oh, so it's older people.
Yeah, they do like music in the park, but it's all
Mhm.
francophone. No thanks. No.
So funny. I used to go to all that when my kids were little, and like, I don't know, maybe when I'm old, I'll go to it again, but I guess it just doesn't fit. Okay. All right. Well, with that, we are about to close out, and I just want to give anybody an opportunity to do like a check-in and like if optional, you can do an accountability buddy to be like, okay, like check in on me because this is the thing I'm going to do. I want you to check in on me. I know we tried this last time without success, but it doesn't mean that we can't keep trying. Okay. This is a great example of like, we do declare, and sometimes we need to repromise when we realize, okay, like that didn't go how I thought it was going to go at the time. Doesn't mean we stop. The solution is not to stop deciding to do things. Let's put it that way. All right. So anything anyone wants to share with what they're taking from this call as we look to close out? Inspired? You guys feeling more like, okay, like one step, we just one step at a time.
Appreciate that the metaphor that you did with the tennis
Good.
back
Thank
and
you.
forth. It's a good to keep in mind when I'm doing presenting with a challenge. It's like, okay, remember, it's okay, you can try again. I
Yeah.
thank you very much for that. I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you for saying so. It was like it just came to my mind. I'm like, I like that. It's helpful. It also takes like the um yeah, like if you think of tennis, just go pick up the ball and keep playing, right? Like it's not like this major issue. And I think that's again it's just a good way to remind ourselves to keep playing the game. Shelley, we're gonna say something. Oh my gosh, you keep I get so excited. You're gonna talk. You're like, no, I'm just breathing.
I was just
Um,
gonna say this is very like validating for me too to like write it all out. At first I kind of felt a little silly whenever I thought of this of like, why can't you just do it yourself? Or, there's this, yeah, that part, but also like being able to write out when, what would it look like if I was fully supported? And I'm like, oh, that would just feel so good. That would feel so good for not just me, but I know my husband would really benefit from it too. Cause I think a lot of his anxiety is when there's messes everywhere, right? So and sometimes there's just not a place to like, where do you put all these important documents that you have to keep? And so, yeah, it was validating. And then it was nice to have these like actual steps and planned out. So I wrote everything out and I've got my next step.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. Yeah, I'm personally feeling like, wow, like I feel like a little bit like rejuvenated it.
Hmm.
Good job. Good job, me. But no, thank you so much for each of your participation and showing up, right? Like showing up to be part of building your own team. Like you are already being the leader that you need to be to build this next level of your team. And I'm glad to be part of that journey with y'all. So, um,
I want to thank Casey. Thank you very much. I saw your I saw your notification like 15
Oh,
minutes ago. I've always been a last minute person, but I saw 15 minutes ago. I'm like, all right, I'm going to this meeting. Goodbye, everybody. Like, take care of yourselves.
Aw,
run
got
away.
it.
Thank you
I'm glad
Well,
you
good
so
did.
very
job.
much, Casey. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Glad you came.
Yes. Thank you for all you do. All right. Well, with that, we'll wrap. I have to jump into the next call and we'll see y'all next month for those of you who can make it.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks
All
everybody.
right. Bye,
Bye.
guys.